Good morning, everyone. We are starting the class officially now, and today I'm going to explain a couple of concepts, and that will be the idea and the notion of the variables, of assignments, operators, expressions. And these are things we have done before, so we have used them, but I never explained them officially and in details what they are. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. So we will have a better understanding when we do something, what exactly happened behind the scenes, because you have to be aware that when you write a command and the command gets executed, something happens behind or the scenes or in front of the scenes, and we have to be aware. Otherwise, we will never be able to become a better computer programmer. So I will start with the idea of the variables. I'm going to share my camera so you will see what I'm doing. So actually I'll share my screen. I stand corrected. Okay, and then I'll start my camera. Okay, so first we'll deal with variables. The official definition of the variable, it's a little bit no sense for people that they have not lived with computers and programming for some time. So I will not give you the official definition, but I'll like you to understand the following. Think of the variable as a container, as a bucket, in which the program can put things inside, and then the program can go and get this from inside if the program needs the information. So this is envision the variable as a bucket in which we can place things in. And because we can have more than one variable, we need to give them names to differentiate or make a reference with the variables. So I may call this as simple as A, or as complicated as fxy to z1x. The variable, we call them sometimes variable names. So variable names have to start with a letter, and you can have a name, can include numbers, as the number, let's say here, 2 or 1, whatever that is, but they cannot have spaces or other symbols. So just letters and numbers will be okay, and no spaces. And as we will see, this is too long and complicated, because if I use, as you have seen, when I use a variable in my program, and I mistype even one letter, let's say if I have X, and I did that the other day, if instead of lowercase I put in uppercase or vice versa, the system will give me an error. So cannot be long like this, cannot be short like this. And we have to use usually something that will represent what data we intend to put into the variables. We'll come to the variable name later on. So the question is, how do I put something into the bucket, into the variable? How do I store something? And we have done this the other day, and we store things via an assignment statement. For example, in my program, if I say the name of the variable, the assignment, and then a value, let's say 26, what this will do, when the program executes, when the computer executes this line, it's going to put the number 26 there. So later on in my program, if I want to display that value, I can say print, which is the command to display something on the screen, and then in the parentheses, the name of the variable, and the system will display on the screen 26. Just to facilitate things, I'm going to change this to fxy, because I don't want to make a mistake. So let's assume I want to put the name, right, or my name here to be stored. So I will say the name of the variable, fxy, the assignment, and then in quotation marks, I will say Anthony. So when the system executes this line, says go create a variable called fxy and put aside the characters A, N, etc., etc., etc. So the system will come here and put the characters A, N, T, H, O, and Y. Any questions up to this point? Okay, so let me come and do these things in Python environment. Okay, so you will see actually so when I create a statement, I'm in the shell, right? I'm interactively interactively now entering things with Python. So if I say, for example, A equals 26, and I hit the enter key, nothing happens on the screen, but something happens behind the scene. And what happens behind the scene is the system goes and creates this variable A and puts the value, whatever value, I think, in the bucket. So things happen behind the scenes. Now, I'm going to execute the next command. So the first one says put the value 26 in the variable named A. Then this command will say go to the variable A and tell me what is inside that, stored inside that variable. So when we say print, okay, when I execute this command, the system will display 26, and that is because it will go to this variable, to the bucket with the name A, which is this one, and inside the A bucket, we'll see there is the number 26, and will display that number. Now, if I say A is 47, the system will tell the computer, go to the variable named A, destroy the 26 and put the 47, because variables can hold only one value, one set of value. So cannot hold 26 and 47 at the same time. So when I hit the enter key, the system will go to the variable named A. It will destroy this value and will put the new value in. That was whatever 40 was, I don't remember, 40 something, right? Whatever, 48 we put in. Okay. So now, if I print that value, if I print 47, oh, okay, not 48, it doesn't matter. So if I tell the system to print the A now, right, I'm asking the system to print the value that is stored in the variable A. That's the meaning of this line. The system will display 47. So inside the A, it is 47. Let me 45. Okay. Now I'm going to create another variable. I will call it, let's say, fx, and I will put the value of 20. No, the value of 2. Change my mind. When I hit the enter, nothing appears to happen, but something happened behind the scenes. So what happens is this. Let me see. Can we see both actually? Okay, good. Can see both. So when fx equals 2, the system goes to memory, creates a bucket, names the bucket fx, and puts the value of 2 there. That's what happens behind the scenes. Now let's see what happened with this. I have a variable called, let's call it num. And I want the num to be A plus fx. And I hit the enter, and nothing seems to happen. But indeed, behind the scenes, here is what has happened. The fx equals 2, oh, we did that. Then the next line, num, this computer goes in memory, creates a variable, names it num, and then puts inside whatever is in A. So we'll go to the variable A, find what's inside, put 47, and then the plus, and then the fx, we'll go to fx, find the value of 2, put it here, and perform this addition. So 47 and 2 makes 49, and ultimately the 49 is stored in the variable num. So if I go here and I say print parenthesis num, the result is 49. Any question up to this point? Okay. So we call this an assignment, right? The equal sign is not equal. It's not the same as in arithmetic. An assignment. It says create a variable and assign to this variable, or put in that bucket, if you consider that as a bucket, this value. The same here. Create a variable with this name and place in that variable, assign to this variable the characters A, N, T, O, H, and Y, whatever you have in quotation marks. And the num, the fx, we assign the value of 2. And when we created the num, and we say I want this plus this, right? The system goes to A and brings the value here 47, goes to fx2, brings the value here 2, does this addition, the result is 49, and then places the result inside this variable. So a variable is a word that we use to store things or extract things from. The equal sign is the assignment. It tells to the computer inside that variable, or to the variable, to the bucket with this name, put this value, to the variable with this name, assign this value. And this is called an expression. Right? What it means, an expression means after the assignment, instead of having two values, instead of having one value, we have a value and then an arithmetic operator and then another value. And when it's plus, the system will take the value of the variable A plus the value of the variable of x. This is an expression that will compute the result of an expression, and the result will be stored in the variable named to the left of the assignment. Any questions? Everything is clear so far? Okay. So the next thing I will do, so these are variables and assignments and expressions. Like this, we'll see more expressions. The next thing is operators. We saw here the plus sign, but the computer can do other arithmetic operations. So what are the symbols that the computer, the Python, understands? Okay, and here they are. We use the plus sign to add things. We use the minus subtract. I don't know if I can write on this. Nope. Draw. Okay. So this is the plus. I guess I cannot draw. Maybe I'll try one more time. Yes. This is the plus for addition. The minus to subtract numbers. The star to multiply things. The slash to divide integer division. If you divide two numbers, the system will keep just the integer part. The percentage is for the remainder. If I divide a number by another number, if it's not the result has a remainder, it will display the remainder. And the two stars is the exponent, which is the number times itself. I'm going to give you an example, at least for the first 4 for the time, and then maybe the first 5, and then we'll examine more of that. So these are the symbols we can use to perform arithmetic operations. Okay, so let me minimize that and go back here. So if I have, can I say, let me see if you can see the rest. Okay, I can use the same variable, let's say num, and then have a more complicated expression. I can have, let's say, a plus 3 times fx, right? If I have fx, yes, times fx is 2, times fx. So this is an expression and has addition and multiplication. Similarly to the arithmetic, in computer programming, there is a precedence of operators. In other words, some things will happen before others. So first, the system will perform this operation, find the result, and then will perform this operation to find the result. And then this result, this evaluation, this value will be assigned to this variable. In other words, the system will go to the variable A. It is 47. So it will say 47 plus then 3, then time x, and fx up here is 2. So that will be 2. So it's like having 47 plus 3 times 2. So we said this will be performed first. Right? This is first. So that will be first. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then that will be second. 47 and 6 is 53. So 53 will be stored into the variable now num. Oh, I don't seem to see everything. I have to move. Okay. I apologize one more time. The system will go to the variable A and retrieve the value 47 plus 3. It's a constant. It has nothing to do with the variable. It's a number. Then times. Then we'll go to the variable fx and retrieve the 2. So the arithmetic expression after the num behind the scene will be 47 plus 3 times 2. 2 times 3 will be performed first because multiplication happens before the addition. The result is 6. Then 47 plus 6 will happen next. 47 plus 6 is 53 if my arithmetic is correct. And then the 53 will be assigned into the variable num. So the variable num now will have the new value 53. Okay, let's see in our program if things are that way. So we have that the variable num is a plus 3 times fx. And if I hit the enter key, things happen behind the scenes. So the way to see the result would be to print the variable, the contents rather of the variable emblem, and the answer is 53 as we explained here. Oops. This is recorded, so if you want to go back, you can go back and revisit those things. But until that time, any questions? Okay. So since you are such a good students, let's continue and see how we can incorporate variables with inputs in relation to the windows. And we did that with in relation to the graphics pie, and we did that the other day. So we'll concentrate on that part. So let me minimize this and ask the system to create a new file in which we can place our program. Okay, this is our new file. Let me see if I can open it instead of recreating. Open. I'm in the wrong place. I have to go here. Where did I put the? No, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the cloud. I want to come to my computer. So sorry for the delay, guys. CIS 1, 2. Okay, I think I found it. We're here. Okay, last time we finished with this program, and I said I'll come back. Okay. Now, this is an assignment. It's a little bit more. There's a lot of things. In an assignment, first the system evaluates the things to the right of the assignment, finds the result, and then assigns the result to the variable. Right? So at this point, we may think of objects. No, these are variables. W, D, and L are variables. These are objects. Although you cannot, just looking on the name, you cannot tell. Anyway, so let me run this program and see what happened behind the scenes. So I run the module. Okay. So the first, let me move and see if we can see the program. Okay, kind of. I should have cleared that. Okay, let me clear it because we have too much garbage from before. Okay, so simply I'm going to run the program again. So we'll start with a clean slate so you can see what's happening inside. So this is the result of the input statement, right? So far it's just input and the phrase that I put in quotation marks. When I type, this is the dimension, right? Dimension, please enter the window width. So when I type 600 or 650, doesn't matter. Nothing has happened yet. When I hit the enter key, the 650 will be delivered to this program. We call them functions or whatever. We'll talk about these things another time, which is another small program that will convert the input to an integer. What 600 looks like, 650 rather, looks like an integer, but remember, everything that comes from a keyboard is not an integer. It's not a number, although it looks like a number. Is a text, is a string, and then the 650 number will be stored into the variable called WD. So the 650, if I hit the enter key, will be stored in that variable. So hit the enter key. Behind the scenes, we don't see, but that's what happened. The 650 number, integer number, became the value of the WD variable. Now if I type 333, the next line, which is the length, it's the input, will be converted to an integer by the program called int, and then that will be stored in the variable that we have here, len. And then the system will create this window. But what happened behind the scenes, the wn says it is a window with the title AK. Go to the variable WD and retrieve the stored value. And the stored value was 650. And then go to the variable ln and retrieve the stored value, and the stored value was 333. And the system was able to create this window, which is 650 pixels wide, 333 pixels tall or length. And of course, it painted pink because that's what I said to do. Is now a little bit more clear about the statements and what happens behind the scenes. Any questions? Okay. Let me stop this recording so we will not have too big of recordings, and then we'll create another one for what comes next.